So, I already recorded this. This is take 2. I had to scrap all 30 minutes of it because I had a little piece of something on my ear right here. As you can tell, my earphones, like, plastic coverings are coming off. So a piece of this was on my ear right here and it was there throughout the entire video. I didn't realize it, and now looks like I'm clear, but I'm mad. Hello, and welcome back to another video. And today's video is going to be another entry into the novels that I want to read. The first genre was nonfiction. The next genre was historical fiction, and then the other one was fantasy. The last one was science fiction, and today is witches. And I love witch stories. I do. I think witch stories are pretty interesting. And you know, there are different versions of it. You know, we have The Witches, based off of Roald Dahl's books, both versions with Angelica Houston, and then the recent one with Anne Hathaway. And then you also have, of course, American Horror Story Coven. You have Witches of East End, which is amazing. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I love both those shows. And there are different kinds of witches. You know, there are witches that, you know, is a stereotypical, you know, tall witch hat, black cloak, standing over a cauldron mixed with a big spoon. You have the witches like from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They will go like, boop, and there's magic. But my all-time favorite witch film, it's kind of childish, so don't get mad, so don't make fun of me. But I don't know if you guys remember the film Twitches on Disney Channel. It starred Tia and Tamara Mori. And they played twins that were separated at birth, find each other on their 21st birthday, and they had to defend their homeland I believe it was called New Coventry, from the darkness. And they made 2 films, spectacular films. And it's based off of a series of books. Now, witch stories have come a long way since then. You know, we had darker witches, we had gory witches, we had terrifying witches. And so today are going to be all the witch novels, not all, but like some witch novels that I want to read. And so I have a couple on my computer. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So the first one that I have here is A Wicked Magic by Sasha Lawrence. And just a side note, I will not be providing any synopsises of these novels because there are a lot of books and I'm trying to get through them as fast as possible. So A Wicked Magic by Sasha Lawrence, and this is a fantasy thriller debut. And apparently it's like The Craft meets Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or Adventures of Sabrina or The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And so, I got an itch, sorry. And I heard that this is a really good book. However, the rating on Goodreads is very low. It's like 3.37. But, yet again, like I said before, I don't really pay attention to that because I really don't give a about it. But, so I'm going to read it. I also love the watercolor painting for the book. Then I have a classic. I have The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. And anything with Anne Rice, I'm going to love. I love Interview with a Vampire. And the whole Vampire Chronicles, I love that. And I don't really need to know what this book is about. I just see Anne Rice and the word witch in the title, and I'm good. Next is A Discovery of Witches, which is the first book of the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness. And this kind of feels like a old version, like an old-fashioned, like, supernatural thriller. You know, the main character, you know, discovers a whole vast world of supernaturals. Also made a series. I can't remember what channel it was on. I think it was AMC, I believe. But I heard this is a really good series. Next is The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. And this is just very quick synopsis. It's a sorority of witches. It just sounds amazing. Love Danielle Page's Dorothy Must Die, but I did not like the rest of that series. It kind of fell flat to me. I didn't really like, you know, how the story went. I love Dorothy Must Die, and that sucks because it sucks when you love the first book and then the series just go down this way. And I don't know if I will read Stealing Snow, and I don't know if I will read her Mara Tidebreaker graphic novel, but I will read The Ravens though, because The Ravens does sound really good. Next is a series called These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, and it's set in Salem, Massachusetts, and it follows a gay witch named Hannah dealing with like drama, and then drama with her ex-girlfriend, and who's also part of the witch coven, I think. But honestly, it just sounds so good. And it's also giving me like Tara and Willow vibes from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is totally fine because I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Next is Jessica Spotswood's Born Wicked, which is the first book of the Cal Hill Witch Chronicles. And obviously this is about the Cal Hill sisters. This is about the Cal Hill sisters and their witches and yada yada yada. It just sounds very interesting. I did read this a while ago, or I attempted to read it a while ago, but I wasn't in the mood for it, or I wasn't in the right place for it, so I did not finish it, but I do want to go back and try to read it again. And I heard that it's a really good series as well. This is a book that I did read, but I want to reread because I forgot everything that happened in it, and that's Half Bad by Sally Green, which is the first book of the Half Bad trilogy. It's about a boy who is a half witch, but his father is like the most vile of witches. Distinctly remember the book being good, but not my favorite. But I should go back and reread it because it does sound really, really good, and it does sound rather interesting. And it's also kind of cool that even though there are some male magic users, they're not called wizards, they're called witches. Next is Kate Williams. Wow, I didn't say it like that. Kate Williams is The Babysitter's Coven. And this is Adventures in Adventures in Babysitting meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And honestly, that's all I really need to know. Because if you guys have not watched the original Adventures in Babysitting, go watch it. It is so good. But basically, it's this babysitter's club, and they're witches, and they have to protect somebody or whatever. It just sounds, as long as it's pitched as Adventures in Babysitting, I'm good. Next is Alexis Henderson, The Year of Witching. The Year of the Witching. And I believe this one is like a church versus a witch coven, and anything dealing with like religion versus a witchcraft, coven. I just find it interesting because, their use of, the fact that they use magic is going against the word of God. And as a Christian myself, I can separate witchcraft from religion, or fiction from religion. I'm excited to read this, and also the cover is so cool. I love that it's black and white and that the title is in gold, and there's like blood splatter on it. And I think this is a debut as well. And then the next one is Carrie Maniscalco, Kingdom of the Wicked. If I pronounce your name wrong, I'm so sorry. And this one is sort of it's also dealing with like witchcraft, obviously. The main character, Amelia, crosses paths with a guy who has been told that she cannot be friends with or whatever because he's like the most vile of vile human beings or something like that. No, he's like a prince of hell or something like that. And her sister is killed, and they're both witches, and she's trying to solve her murder or whatever. So this is obviously a romance, supernatural witch story, and I'm down for that. Next, I'm so excited to read this one. That's How to Hang a Witch by, what's her name? Adriana Mather. And this one is, and Adriana Mather, I believe, if I'm correct, is a descendant of someone from the actual Salem witch trials. So Adriana Mather is a descendant of Cotton Mather. This is set in like Salem, Massachusetts, where the Salem witch trials, of course, took place. And this is the first book of the series. The second one is about like the Titanic or something like that, which is very different from that of the Salem witch trials. I'm excited though to read this. I heard nothing but amazing things about this book, and honestly, the cover is pretty amazing too. Although I am concerned though, because the blurb said it's the Salem witch trials meets Mean Girls, which I do not like that, because Salem witch trials does not mix well with Mean Girls, because Mean Girls is a comedy, Salem witch trials is not comedy, unless they're talking about like the band of girls sticking up for one another. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know, but it's very concerning that they put that in there. Next book is Witches Steeped in Gold, and I'm not going to try and pronounce the author's name because I don't want to butcher it and be rude, so Miss Smart, I apologize. But this one is like it's actually kind of exciting because this one's like a Jamaican-inspired witch story. And we're not seeing a lot of Jamaican mythological stories. I'm glad that we're getting more, diverse mythologies in YA, or I guess in just books in general. But this one, even if I didn't know what the book was about, this cover would reel me in because I love this cover. Next, I actually featured this author before in my fantasy one, and this is Alex E. Haro, and this book is The Once and Future Witches. Honestly, I don't know the plot of this one. I just saw this cover and I think it's great. And also, Alex E. Haro may be an author that I'm going to be sort of interested in, because what's the other one? The 10,000 Doors of January was also on the list of fantasy. So hey, I may be a Alex E. Haro fan. I don't know. Next, this one, I'm really excited about this one. And this one is Witches of Ash and Ruin by E. Latimer. And this is witches mixed with Celtic mythology. And I've never seen that combo before. I don't really know Celtic mythology that much. So it's really interesting to see. Because, you know, with witch stories, it's either church, you know, versus the covens, and so on and so forth. But I've never heard of Celtic mythology versus witchcraft. So that's going to be an interesting trip. But I believe it's just one book. And that's going to be it for me today. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts. Have you read any of these books that I mentioned today? And like I said, any recommendations for books, witchcraft books, wizard books, let me know down below. I hope you guys are having a safe day, and I hope you guys had a really good Thanksgiving. And I will see you everyone soon in my next video. Deuces.